Thank you for tuning in with Dr. Leisha, the Preacher. Okay. Okay, so the last time I read an email from my marriage, I was all emotional and stuff, and I said, I can't do this, whatever. Well, it's been a few months and I'm a little tougher now. So I was listening to the recent case about a former NFL player, Mr. Smith, who is being sued through the HomeWrecker laws out of, I believe, North Carolina, by his mistress's husband. The husband, I guess, called him or something and, recorded him apologizing for, messing with his wife or whatever. But the man is suing him. And I'm like, yay! Woo, hallelujah, Jesus. Because twice this happened to me, guys. Twice. I was married for 32 years, legally married for 32 years. Both husbands cheated on me. And the women that they immediately cheated on me with, one of them, it's always more than one, y'all know that. But the main one, I guess, riding the heels, in both cases, they married the women that they had secretly waiting in behind in the queue, the marriage queue. So, and I was, the first time I wasn't surprised. Okay. I knew what kind of man he was. He always had other women. That was nothing new. I wasn't surprised. I mean, I was hurt, but not surprised. But the second time, he presented himself as a godly man going to church. I'm not like other men. I'm better than other men. I never agreed with him, and I always disagreed with that point. I agreed that he was a good man, but I didn't feel like any man was any better than another. Like, I don't even think billionaires and trillionaires are better than homeless men. I'm just one of those weird people. Just because you're a billionaire, a trillionaire, or the richest man on earth does not mean that you are better than the absolute poorest man on earth. You're both men. One just have a lot of money and the other one don't. But he believed that because of the choices he made in life, it made him better than all the men in his life. And I was like, huh? But anyway, every man has the right to think of themselves the way they want. And just like I had the right to think of myself the way I wanted. you know. And he found pleasure in disagreeing with me, because I didn't agree with him on that one point. But to me, he was everything. To me, he was everything. He had proven before we got married, I had tested him out. And he had proven, based on my test, to be everything to me. I didn't agree with that one point in his life, you know. But other than that, I felt like he was the one. I felt like he was my soulmate, my twin flame, and I didn't feel like anyone else could measure up on earth. I mean, like on earth, I don't care who you brought before me. They were not gonna light a match to him. And I have a whole laundry list of reasons as to why he qualified. And even after him, just to test my theory, I even tried a man or two after him. Most High even sent the ideal guy after him. Not even after him, during him. After he decided to divorce me, clearly let me go. Most High brought before me, I'm assuming Most High, I'm just going to say Most High, guys, okay? Brought forth the perfect guy, a man who was already experienced in marriage, equal to me or more. Wife freshly passed away, so she's gone, you know, been married for a very long time, you know. already has a church, already has a business, all the things that my husband wouldn't do for me, all the things he refused, I mean, like refused to do in writing, refused to do for me. The next man had it all, you know, the church, marriage minded, or experienced anyway. You can have a marriage experience without the mind. Um, the entrepreneurship, just everything that I will, had wanted my husband to develop and grow with me and refused to on purpose. The next man just was already equipped with it. Already equipped. And tall and dark skin on top of that. Y'all know I have a thing for dark skin. I'm sorry, y'all. I can't help my preference, but I don't let my preference dictate my life. I don't. I'm just saying. So if you're still with me, click like, hit the subscribe button, the notification bell, and share my videos, please. Thank you. So anyway, let me get to this letter. Um, this letter is dated November 10th, 2020. So this is almost 5 years ago. At this point, my husband already walked out on me, already decided to divorce. No real reason. No, like, real valid reason. We had worked through everything, literally. The kids were like, the youngest child was 21 years old. The youngest child was 21. We worked through the hardest part of being married for 25 years, almost 25 years or whatever, however long we were married at that time. Well over 20 years of marriage. We worked through the hardest part, all his cheating, lying, all of that. Not that he was done. Not that he was done, but, I'm used to it now. It's no surprise. I'm broken in. You know what I'm saying, guys? You know? So, so that's how far we've gotten. He's made his choices, and I've already told him about Pastor. He already gave his okay about it because that was the nature of our open marriage. Our open marriage was, he could do whatever he wanted to do basically, but he had veto power with me. I couldn't date anyone without his permission. So, I wouldn't even talk to anybody without even, letting him know that there was an interest. You know what I'm saying? So when it came to Pastor, he was like, whatever. And I'll share that letter later. I'll share that letter later. Okay, so let me just go ahead and read this letter real quick. I have to go pick up my grandson, take him to work. So again, this letter is dated Tuesday, November 10th, 2020 at 3:23 p.m. And it's titled Moving Forward. We both, again, like I said, realize we're moving forward. So there's no, whatever. But this is my way of just finalizing everything, like a moving forward finalization letter, I guess you could say. One of many, of course, right? Okay, it says, how about let's just go no contact till March when you can afford to divorce properly first and then decide clearly from there. Because he decided to divorce, but at that moment in time, we didn't have any money to divorce. He ain't had none, I ain't had none, according to him. Now, I know I ain't had none. I was a stay at home wife depending on him 100%. I couldn't even, I didn't have a pot to piss in without him. I didn't have food to eat without him. You know what I'm saying? I was eating free food. I still eat free food, you know? So while he's secretly getting another woman, I'm eating free food, depending on him, you know what I mean? Being discarded. But I'm still reaching out, still trying to, do something here. So I said, let's go no contact till March when you can afford to divorce properly first and then decide clearly from there. We owe that to ourselves, at the least as friends. We've known each other since ninth grade. He was a friend, much more than a husband. I'm trying to save at least the friendship at this point. The marriage is all screwed up. You didn't slept with my daughter's, girlfriend, her lover. You stole our daughter's lover, my daughter's lover. So, I mean, we didn't been to hell and back. Oh, Jesus. So, we owe it to ourselves, at the least as friends, leave the way we came in, whole and ready for something new. So, even after going through hell and back, I'm trying to be positive, guys. I'm trying to, you know what I'm saying? That's just who I am. Regardless to the heartbreak you hear on my channel, you know, regardless to what you hear on my channel, these words in the midst of my husband leaving me as a stay-at-home wife and mom, abandoning me to sneak off with somebody else, these are the kind of words I can spit out. I'm sorry you married such a deep, now listen to me, guys. I'm still feeling myself, okay? Meaningful, soulful, forgiving woman that lives an open, balanced, and measured life of family responsibility and accountability that leads to generational wealth and stability. I thought my entire life prior to our marriage proudly displayed my ability to be great, crash, burn, rise again. Regardless, our separation energy is creating new material for me. And I need to finish my new research on biblical marriages too. Sorry, we are not strong enough to study together. Please, at this point, just go add the girls' names to one of the properties we own. That doesn't require a lot of effort. Now, at this point, guys, everybody kicked me out the family, and I'm living in the projects in Florida with roaches crawling on me. Okay. Everybody else is up here living in homes we own, living their best life with their lovers while he's divorcing me, sneaking off, running off with somebody else. All my bloodline was turned against me during this time. My own mother was turned against me. And we still don't talk to this day because of this divorce. And I'm still trying to be, soft. But, we're angry. We're labeled as angry black women. But I'm not showing any anger here. I'm just showing how I feel and what I'm going through, the man I'm with. The storm will be over soon. Forgive yourself. You tried. And that's all I needed my friend to do because he was my friend before we were this toxic marriage. You didn't want my Aunt Ann before us. So one of the tests that I'm so goofy, y'all. But, you know, here I am, divorced with two kids. According to him, guys, he was a virgin, never had a relationship before, never even kissed a woman, stuff like that. In church, career, college graduate, just the quote unquote perfect guy. Now, none of that really, really mattered to me. You know what I mean? I mean, it's impressive. Don't get me wrong. That's why I lived that kind of life too. I went to college and went to church and was trying to do right. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying I'm not one of those people who think that all of that is what makes a good marriage or gets you to heaven or turn out better kids than anybody else. I don't feel that way. I don't live that way. I wasn't raised that way. You know what I'm saying? I went through hell in life. I ain't never really had no easy life. I've always had to create the good, make it happen in my world. You know what I'm saying? So the life that he painted for himself, that was him. I was marrying a friend, someone that I felt, you know. So one of my tests was I wanted to hook him up with one of my aunties. that was around our age who fit his image. Now, I don't know, everyone had their own private life. Like, I couldn't confirm what he was saying about his life, but my aunt had that image. So I tried to, hook up with my aunt, but that never happened. They never met. They never, that never happened, never kicked off. I was like, oh, okay. So he really do think I'm good enough for him. He's passing up someone that should be his equal, a good image, college, you know, he's passing up a woman that I think is good. He and I never really dated or had sex or anything like that, so it wasn't creepy, you know what I mean, for me to say, hey, friend, instead of, you having an interest in me, how about I introduce you to my aunt? He and I didn't have nothing between us where it would be weird for me to say, hey, I know someone that's better than me. I know it's people better than me in this world. Of course, there's people worse. So let me finish this letter on, or did I do it? Let me see. Okay, so I was like, I tried to introduce you to my aunt, nor Toya during our marriage, we opened it up, so he could. I just always knew it was other people in the background. I knew shortly after marriage, shortly after I said I do, during our honeymoon, he had been lying the whole time. During our honeymoon, guys, I figured out he was lying the whole time. All that was fake. Even though he passed all the tests and blah 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 blah. Back then we didn't have social media. We didn't have social media back then. So I couldn't easily just, Google, and search them all up and it wasn't easy. He had social media at his job. He had technology with his job. But I hadn't been exposed. He was in corporate America, so just a regular person, not in corporate America. It just was cell phones wasn't even really out back then in 95, 96, 95, 96 when he and I, you know, started talking and got married and stuff. It wasn't easy to be able to find out what he was doing. But during the honeymoon, I was able to see because he didn't even want to have sex until marriage, and I was cool with that. We go to church. Why wouldn't you want to wait if you in church? So anyway, so during our marriage, we opened it up. He was messing around anyway. So I'm like, let's open it up. But just because you open it up and you're honest, don't mean that the person, they agree to it, but they'll still continue with their sneaky ways in the background. So opening up the marriage did not make him honest. It just allowed me to accept that he don't want me anymore. And for me to be able to, move on and not depend on him for everything. I was already depending on him for money, for a roof over my head, because you can't bite the hand that feeds you, so to speak. But opening a marriage allowed me to be honest about what I'm doing and give him veto power because he is the man. But opening a marriage allowed me to at least feel affection from another human being because he was not doing it no more. I just became a sexual object. So I said, single career black woman with no children. So, I actually introduced him to what he thought he wanted. He said, at one point in our marriage, he was like, maybe it would have been nice to have been with a woman that had money and a career and, that was independent. After he stripped me of my ability to do it with a PhD. So he gonna throw it in my face and laugh at me, you know. So I introduced him to a woman that he laughed at me about. Here is one. I brought one to him. Then I said, nor a white woman either. We were swingers together and we, would swing with white people, white couples or whatever. And so, okay, so if the white woman thing didn't work, I'm like, okay, well, this man is interesting. His other life, his secret life is like the bomb diggity because nothing that I present to him scratches itch. He play here, play there. And then it just got to the point where he just pulled back completely. Wouldn't admit to anybody that we even had an open marriage. So it looked like I was just running around. But I just had to take the risk because I couldn't go back. Because having a white woman didn't help and letting submissive me go. He was just willing to let his submissive, little pick Leisha go. So I'm like, what's left? Well, I'm not going to forget to clear your debts and bless you when I make it big. Because, guys, whether I'm with him or not, whether I'm submissive or not, or whatever, you know, I have a calling and a purpose on my life. And I made that very clear before we were married. And I lived that way even during the marriage, even though he tried to strip me down to nothing. Strip me down to I'm living in the projects in Florida with roaches all over me, suicidal. That's how he left me to run off with his white woman. So I said, I'm proud that you and our family is safe. Because they were safe. I was suffering. My greatest work ever. Each one of the people that left me behind were looking great, living their best life. That was my work. I'm the one way somewhere suffering in silence, making YouTube videos. But that's okay. I am going to make it big and I am going to bless them back because I still wouldn't be here without them. On our best and worst day, I still wouldn't be here without any of them. So I will be blessing people back. How could I not? They are my foundation, whether good or bad. And I am a woman of my word. I keep my promises in Most High. If Most High gave it to me, then I know I can keep it. If I don't keep it, then it was just a desire, a weak one that will fall away. Just a good intention. But if it was given to me by Most High, it will come through. So I don't wish bad on nobody. I never have and never will. But I will speak my truth. And if someone did bad to me, I'm going to tell you about it. I'm going to tell you about it. I don't have no reason to be silent now. I lived a silent life for a long time, keeping a bunch of family secrets. Well, I don't have to no more. I'm going to speak up and speak out. And I don't have no reason to lie. And I got the proof to back it up. Everything I say, I can back it up. And if I made a mistake, I'm willing to correct it. I got 6,000 videos on here running my mouth. I may have, mixed up some words or twist up something or whatever. I don't mind fixing it. I'm not perfect, not even trying to be. But I do believe in treating people the right way, the best I can, where I stand. And I expect them to do the same. At least keep their word. At least be honest. Especially if, you know, if I'm making it easy, wow. So I don't have a problem with letting people go. I have experience with people not wanting me and I have to move on or whatever. And so I was trying to, guide our breakup even after all that hell, all that cheating he did, you know. I was willing to sweep all that under the rug, under just a naive man, a broken man or whatever, a confused man, or I don't even know what to call it. But way before that, we were friends. And that does still hold some value to me. Although we will never see each other again, never talk to each other again, none of that. I have cut him off completely. He's cut me off completely. It's completely over, burnt, and done. And I'm thankful for it. I'm thankful for the beginning, middle, and ending. I tried to steer the ending in a better way, but he was determined to do it in a destructive, hurtful way. And I couldn't stop him. So we're all still feeling it today. It ain't over for us. He's happy laying up with his white woman, got his new white life, and living better and whatever. And we suffering like hell over here. But in the midst of our suffering, we're growing, doing better, breaking through the soil. We're breaking through the soil, y'all. We had good days over here and some bad days, but we are hanging in there. So let me get on off this live and go take my 15-year-old grandson to his second job. Okay, because we making it. We hood, and we just doing the best we can with God's word over here in the hood. Where shoot, it's rough. It's hood life. I mean, I don't know what to say. That's all I can tell you. And I wouldn't be anywhere else. This is where my kids and my grandkids are. And technically, based on my degrees and, my clean record and, my life, I could be somewhere else. I could be with white people, living it up, better housing, better cars, better credit. I could be living it up, y'all, living the white life, the American dream. I could be doing it. But that's not where my blood is. My blood is in the hood. So why would I be anywhere else? So we gonna be the best hood people. We gonna be like the billionaire hood rats, the millionaire hood rat. You know? Why not? Who can stop me? Thank you. All right, y'all be blessed. Click like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, share my videos. Keep up with your girl. Bye.